Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm grateful that you're here. Firstly, before we start, it is, you know, just over a week since the tragic passing of Daniel Naroditsky. I hope today we can have a grown up and a nuanced conversation. You may not agree with everything I say, but you might agree with some things, and I think it's important to have this conversation. But before we start, thoughts, feelings, and prayers to Daniel Naroditsky's family and his friends and to the whole chess world, because he made an impact on it like few others have in history, and he was a shining light and a well liked person, and you can only hope that he knew that. Unfortunately, we have to start with Vladimir Kramnik and two statements that he put out on October the 25th. So the first one reads as follows. It is quite long, so bear with me. Dated October 25th, 2025, I would like to express my deepest condolences to all of Daniel Naroditsky's loved ones in connection with the tragic and untimely passing of this remarkable chess player and person, which has deeply shaken me personally and the entire chess world. To my profound regret, this tragic event has become an opportunity for some to exploit it for their own interests and to launch an unprecedented, cynical, and unlawful campaign of harassment against me and my family. In this regard, I would like to make the following statements. 1. I have never made any personal attack or insult towards Naroditsky. 2. Despite the tensions in our relationship, I was the only person in the chess community who, noticing on video Daniel's obvious health issues a day before his death, publicly called for him to receive help. Unfortunately, this plea was ignored by everyone. The subsequent attempts immediately following his passing to directly link this tragic event to my name, especially in light of this fact, cross all boundaries of basic human morality in my view. 3. My private and public requests made a year ago for a review of Grandmaster Naroditsky's compliance with fair play rules were ignored, despite a significant amount of evidence, only part of which was published, supporting the validity of this request. I have always been and remain ready to provide these materials to any relevant authority. 4. Certain provocative statements by public figures, sometimes escalating to blatantly false and criminal accusations against me regarding Daniel's death, which have led, among other things, to threats to the safety of myself and my family and violations of my personal rights, will be the subject of criminal and civil lawsuits currently being prepared by my lawyers. 5. I welcome the officially announced opening of a criminal investigation in the United States into the circumstances of Daniel Naroditsky's death, and if needed, can even assist the investigation with some important non-public information at my disposal. Finally, with full responsibility, I want to state that I am in good physical and mental condition and under no circumstances am planning to take my own life. Vladimir Kramnik. Sorry, I know if you're listening on podcast that a moment of silence is not great. He really ended this by saying he's not planning to take his own life. For those of you who don't know, at this current stage, it looks like, and has looked like for the entirety of the time, that Daniel Naroditsky was the cause of his own death. I don't know how else to put it. I can put it more bluntly, but it's not right. If we're looking at his 5 statements, there are a couple that we can immediately rule out as false. Number 1, he never made any personal attack or insult to Naroditsky. That's wrong. He did. You can find it on Twitter. I mean, I can't find it because he's blocked me on Twitter. It's there. You can find it on his own YouTube channel. You can find it in Naroditsky's interviews. You can find it in the debate that they had in Russian. So he did. If you dispute me, that's fine, but he did. Point 2. Yes, Vladimir Kramnik did raise health concerns for Daniel Naroditsky. To say he was the only one is not correct. There were people on the very stream that said, Daniel, you need to end the stream. People came to him and said, Daniel, you need to stop now. We can see you're not well. 3, that investigation. Look, I don't know everything about it. He obviously says he's got evidence, whatever. He accused Daniel Naroditsky of cheating. Everyone under the sun basically said, no, he's not. And Kramnik pushed it and pushed it and pushed it and pushed it and pushed that rhetoric too far. 5. I will come back to point 4 now. 5. The opening of a criminal investigation. Yes, he did ask for it. In my view, while it might be a good thing, it might be a bad thing, I think it's in poor taste. In extremely poor taste to be advocating for that. If it happens, it happens. That is a private affair dealt with by Daniel's family. It's not for you to demand on Twitter sitting wherever you are. I think you're in Geneva. Enough. This is where the nuance needs to come now. Point 4. Certain provocative statements by public figures. Ladies and gentlemen, like me, you can disagree with Vladimir Kramnik. However, it is not acceptable to threaten violence against him or his family, against anybody. Anybody at all. What some of the people have done, making death threats to his wife, to himself, is uncalled for. Here's another press statement from him, October 25th, 2025. It's from some legal something like that he's filed. At a time we should be mourning the tragic demise of Mr. Daniel Naroditsky, Mr. Vladimir Kramnik has been the victim of an unbelievable campaign of hatred and degradation on social media and in several media outlets, which have seriously violated their ethical obligations. Mr. Kramnik has been forced to file a criminal complaint today with the Attorney General of the Republic and Canton of Geneva, Switzerland, following serious threats and unprecedented attacks on his personality and that of his loved ones. Mr. Kramnik has requested that the perpetrators be identified, prosecuted, and convicted by the criminal authorities. He has also requested that all measures be taken to safeguard his personal security and that of his family members. Furthermore, Mr. Kramnik intends to take legal action against anyone who attacks his honor and personality rights. Okay, so that also needs to be broken up into a few steps. As I said now, ladies and gentlemen, you are free to voice your displeasure at the way in which he's behaved. I realize this is covering half my face, but let me take it down. You're free to disagree with him and to call him out for his actions and stuff like that. It is unacceptable to hurl death threats at the man and his family. Unacceptable. That is, I don't like Kramnik. 14th world champion, huge figure in chess. It's unacceptable. But he is also playing a little bit of victim card. I will indulge you with that one because some of what the people are saying are true. You cannot dispute facts. He pushed Daniel Naroditsky way too far. Even if he doesn't think he did, Daniel himself said, you can listen on C-Squared podcast, Fabiana Caruana and his partner there, they do a fantastic job. They did an interview with Daniel like a year ago. And he explains there how it has affected him. If I say something and it hurts you, it is still my responsibility and I can go apologize. I don't have the right to say, no, it didn't hurt you. Unfortunately, that's what Kramnik is doing. He's saying, I didn't do anything. I think that's in poor taste. So there are calls now. He's also been reported by FIDE. that is also the thing. They've opened a thing, they've sent it to their ethics panel, and they're opening an investigation into the comments by Kramnik. A year too late, but it's something. Look, Kramnik's cause in itself is not wrong, and I think that's also a nuance in this conversation. He's fighting for anti-cheat measures, which is, if you looked at it just on the surface, it was fine. I drew the line a long time ago when he was reporting teenagers, people under the age of 18, people sometimes as young as like 12 or 14, when he was reporting them on Twitter. I was like, that's uncalled for, because these are kids. You don't actually know how good they are. They have a couple good performances, all of a sudden they're a cheater because they're not that meant to be that good. When grandmasters are getting younger every year. Look at the performances in the Grand Swiss just this year. Amambaidu Mishra, Erdoğmuş, Gurel from Turkey and from America, and all the prodigies were in and about it. So, reporting kids, I drew a line. He went after Hikaru Nakamura as well, accused him of cheating, accused obviously Daniel Naroditsky, Jose Martinez. He just doesn't stop, and he doesn't listen to anybody. He blocked me on Twitter. I'm nobody. But he blocked me because I disagreed with him. And also, I did something funny. I thought it was funny. I put a link to my video where I spoke about his cheating scandal in... when was it? It was like 2005 or something like that. Like the year I was born, when him and Topalov. I thought it was funny because they were accusing each other of cheating. Hurling accusations all over the place. It was about Kramnik, that particular one, but then Kramnik's team fired back at Topalov. That Kramnik may have been cheating in their World Championship match. And then I assume that's why he blocked me, despite actually liking one of my tweets where I corrected him on something. And it was after Espenko was found cheating in Spain. Okay, that's my little story over. Now we do also need to acknowledge a few other people that are involved in this, because Kramnik was the catalyst, but there were people that didn't help, namely FIDE. Yes, they are doing something now. They are the governing body of chess. They should have done more, because it shouldn't take someone dying to take action, because what he has been doing has been documented for like 2 years now, where he's been going after people, and it is slander because he doesn't have the statistics, he doesn't have evidence. He says he's got all these numbers. Some of them don't make sense. And some of them, he's not comparing apples with apples, as is often cited in statistics. You need to compare things that are the same. He's comparing like over-the-board blitz performances versus online blitz performances. Ladies and gentlemen, if you watch my Road to Glory series, my thing, you will see my rapid games or whatever online, fantastic. You can go watch my streams. I mean, relatively fantastic. Go watch me play over the board. I suck. And I've got more time. I suck. So, it's different beasts, But FIDE should have been doing more. They should have stepped in. They should have told him to stop. Chess.com did their best. They banned his blog. They basically banned him. He plays occasionally, I think, but he calls it, he calls them out all the time. Says their cheating methods aren't enough, and wada, and, he goes on and on and on. And he might be right, but it's not the correct way to do things. There's got to be more nuance to this discussion. Not to mention, Chess.com is a private company. They can do what they like with their app, with their website. They can do what they like. They own it, not the chess community, not you, Mr. Kramnik. So FIDE should have done more. They are doing something now, and we will wait. I'm not waiting with bated breath, but we will wait and see what the outcome is. But that will only come in 2026. But there is one other person we need to acknowledge. And I think a lot of people owe him an apology, and it's a sign of strength. And that's Hans Niemann. For those of you who may remember, 2023 was when this whole cheating thing exploded, and it was not long after this that I think Kramnik began his crusades. It was 2022, sorry, not 2023, I don't think. Where Hans Niemann defeated Magnus Carlsen, and was then accused of cheating. And you could say, in that scenario, Magnus Carlsen played the role of Vladimir Kramnik. because he did not have proof that Hans cheated in that game. There are lots of theories. I subscribe to some of them. I don't subscribe to others. That Magnus Carlsen knew about Chess.com's reports on Hans Niemann and his alleged potential cheating. He had been caught cheating before and had been given no account, stuff like that, and was on his road to making amends. He had quite a sharp rise, but that was just typical because he hadn't been playing for a while. He had high K factors and he was just performing really, really well. And he's gone on to do very, very well. This year, he didn't win, but he gave a pretty decent performance in the US Chess Championship, same as last year. He's a very good classical board player, and he beat Magnus Carlsen in an endgame. It was shocking to everyone. Magnus accused him of cheating without evidence. I mean, there were theories going out around the time. If you were in the chess world at that time, you knew everything was flying about. There were certain devices being mentioned and all sorts of things. But Hans faced a lot of backlash. Like, he was maybe not. I'm obviously not a chess organizer. I'm not in that clique. He was blacklisted from some events, potentially. He was not invited to St. Louis for a couple of events. Some of his invitations got rescinded. He just didn't get invited to tournaments that he should have otherwise been invited to, probably speaking, in terms of his rating and his, kind of fame and a little bit of this stuff. Not to mention Magnus Carlsen just flat out refusing to play him. In the following match, it was an online game. It was like the Julius Bader Generation Cup. I believe it was 2022, where he just resigned after like one move. He has played him since. He played him, of course, in the Speed Chess Championship and in the World Rapid and Blitz last year. But, a credit goes to Hans Niemann when you consider Daniel's passing and the backlash that Hans faced. And you see the toll it took on Naroditsky. You have to tip your hat, maybe not your head, to Hans Niemann because he faced quite a lot. These are not situations that were the same. Let's be clear. They were not the same situation, but they were caused from the same thing. Being accused of cheating without proper evidence and people going after you. Social media is a powerful thing. It really, really is. People are pouring out tributes left, right, and center for Daniel Naroditsky as he deserves, as his legacy deserves. But it was the same tool that people used to witch hunt him and to witch hunt Hans Niemann and are, threatening violence against Vladimir Kramnik. I don't know what to think of the online chess community because I think it is, generally speaking, quite good, but there are some dark sections of it, and I think we need to look ourselves in the mirror a little bit. You can be upset with Kramnik. I'm upset with Kramnik. Don't threaten his family. Don't do that. Don't cross that line. There is a petition going around to revoke his title and his accomplishments in terms of revoking his world championship and stuff like that. I don't know what FIDE is going to do. I think to revoke his grandmaster title and make him like an international master, or to make him not a title player, it's something. As silly as it says, because it feels like he deserves a harsher penalty, a warning, but with a promise to say, if you do this again, we will take it away, take your grandmaster title away. To take away his accomplishment, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, he achieved that. As much as you might want to take everything away from him, he is the 14th world champion. That will never change. You can't rewrite the history books. You can't take that away from him. You can take away his grandmaster title. Normally, I would say this warrants it. But the thing is, because FIDE hasn't done anything about it and told him, no, you can't do that, they've got no leg to stand on. Because you can't only start now. So this has to be like a, Kramnik, if you do this again in the next 3 years, you're done. For the next 5 years, 10 years. If you do this ever again, your grandmaster's gone. Your grandmaster title's gone. And you will be banned from, FIDE tournaments or whatever. Because that's all he really cares about. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments below. But I hope this has been a nuanced conversation. We've spoken about a lot. Don't know how to feel. I really don't. Mourn Daniel's passing every day. But I can't keep talking about this. So I think this is it until we get that FIDE communication in 2026, 2027, whenever it comes out. Normal content will resume soon. We've got the Clutch Chess Tournament. We've got the World Cup coming. Speed Chess Championships already started. We'll talk about that at some point. We've got an amazing video planned in terms of the French defense. It's going to age poorly, but it's been a long day. It's been a long week. It's been so much going on. Hopefully it all calms down. Hopefully we can all move on. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening.